Morning, fellas. Good morning. It's Sunday morning. It's Funday Sunday time, and yeah, we had a bit of controversy on the last video I put up about the Sterilock, the review. So we're going to talk about that today. I'm going to just explain a little bit about why I used it in the way I did, and talk about the website a little bit, and just try and explain this whole mess. So this morning I got up nice and early because Ellie had managed to wake up singing and dancing and chucking her toys out of the cot. So we got up nice and early and I went downstairs, made a cup of tea, came back upstairs and got back in bed. That's the type of guy I am. Get up and make the tea for the missus. And got in bed and I checked my YouTube. Got the phone out, checked my YouTube. I see how it's done, see how the review video's done overnight. And had some big response overnight. 100+ views in the night, and thumbs up, there's some thumbs down. It's all good, man. It's all good. Can't please everyone all the time. That's fine. It's a view. Okay. And some comments and people saying good review, good honest review. Some people saying, yeah, I've used them on kit beers and have had no problems. Perfect. And people saying, yeah, I don't think I'd bother with them. But I got one message, one comment. It's there for you to see, it's there for you to read. No problem at all. Everyone's entitled to a comment, everyone's entitled to their opinion, and I encourage them. Okay? So I just want to clear up a few things that he said. He said in his comment. Now, he said in his comment that it was a bit of an unfair review, because it clearly states on their website not to use the Sterilock if you are preempting a vigorous fermentation. And then he says, so it's a bit unfair to have put this review up using it in the way I was using it, when it already states on the website that it isn't designed to be used under these conditions. Okay? Paraphrasing there because I haven't got the comment here. Alright, so here's my take on it, and here's why I think that it is a fair review of the Sterilock. Now, before we go any further, I just want to firstly say, if I have said anything that's come across wrong, or if I've said anything that's been misinterpreted to anyone that's watching it, or the Sterilock guys, then I apologise to you. Alright, I apologise. But the way I was looking at this was, it's an airlock and I'm a brewer. So it's a new airlock and I'm going to use the airlock how I use airlocks normally, in the fermentation fridge, brewing up a beer, no changes, and see how it works out. Okay. Now, firstly, the first thing I will say is, if you go to the main website is literally a slider box which slides images back and forth, and on these images there's information about the Sterilock, information about how it works, information about the odor absorbing capsule, information about how it fits inside bungs, so you can put it in any sort of bung and it will fit, due to the fact that the shaft is tapered, so it will seal if it's a tighter bung. If it's one that's the same diameter exactly as this, it will seal. And then just goes on to talk about the nanotech, or the nanotechnology they've used inside this and how that works. But nowhere in these slidey boxes does it say, but if you are experiencing a high level of fermentation, or if you are preempting a big fermentation, then do not use it. They do say in this slide box that it's perfect for secondary fermentation, and I said that in the conclusion to the review. I said, yes, if you're doing it for just secondary fermentation, then this is what you need. If you're using a cupboard that's got low shelves, or you can just about get it in but can't fit an airlock in there, then yes, use this, because the vigorous fermentation has already happened. Any other fermentation is just gentle gases that are being released and need venting. Yes, Okay, so I did say that in the video. But if you read on the website where it says about don't use it if you're preempting a blow-off, it's actually at the top of the website under instructions. Okay, so when you go to the main website, at the top where there's the contact us, UK distributors, F&Q, login I think there is, buy online, and then there's instructions. Okay, if you click on that, it opens a PDF where it gives you all the instructions about how to use this. Now the average Joe probably won't go to the website and click on every link to read it. They'll just read the main information which is on the slider box, and because I would imagine that's what most of us would do, because all the information, all the main information they want to get to you is on these slidey boxes. Back to how I was using it and why I think it was a fair review. Let's get to the instructions PDF about the blow off, and let's just read it and see how we interpret it. So it clearly says violent fermentations in the PDF. As with all airlocks, it starts off by saying as with all airlocks. So the Sterilock, the S-bend, anything that's an airlock that's got water in it is included in this statement. As with all airlocks, never use a Sterilock when violent fermentation is expected. Right, when violent fermentation is expected. So it would have been an unfair review for me to have brewed up a barley wine or an imperial IPA or an imperial stout and fit this in there and say, see how you cope with that. Because yes, you put in a large amount of healthy yeast into the wort to get rid of the sugars, which are going to give you the high AB feed for the imperials and for the barley wine. And so yes, you are expecting a big fermentation. Anyone that brews up a barley wine or something that's high ABV'd is in the back of their mind thinking the next morning I'm going to wake up to a mess. Alright? Of course, because you know it's going to ferment vigorously and you know it's going to push it through. So yes, it would have been an unfair review if I'd have done it with that. But I did it with a pale ale, a low ABV pale ale at that. Came out at 5%. So I used it with this pale ale. I brewed a pale before it and had no vigorous fermentation. I brewed the lager, I had no vigorous fermentation. So I figured I'd use it with this pale where there's no vigorous fermentation. It's not happened before in the last two brews, so this is all preempting. Alright, you can't look into the future, but you have to think, well, it hasn't happened with the last pale, so I think I'll be alright. I mean, obviously, like I say, if you're doing a bigger ABV beer, a big double IPA, Imperial Russian Stout or a barley wine, then you wouldn't put the airlock in there thinking, yeah, don't think I'm going to get a vigorous fermentation. You have a better idea of the vigorous fermentation from them than you do on a pale ale, okay? So it brings me round to the next part in this PDA where it says, should fermentation, liquids or froth, reach the Sterilock, okay, so that's what's happened. I was brewing the pale ale, I had a vigorous fermentation and it reached the Sterilock. Immediately remove the airlock, which we did, soak in sterilising solution, and then only refit the Sterilock when violent fermentation has subsided. Right, so we took the airlock out, we cleaned it, we jetted it out with the thing, with the squirty bottle, because there's no way of really getting there to give it a good clean, which is the other thing I was saying. The S-bend or the other airlocks can be jetted through with water. There's no blockage in them, there's no nanotechnology in them that's preventing water passing through them, so you can give them a good clean quickly, sanitize them and get them straight back in. So we did that, we cleaned it, we sanitized it, and at the time of the first blowout, most of the vigorous fermentation in my eyes, when I'm looking at that, has already happened. It's already kicked off big time, it's already sent the yeast flying out the top, and it's already had its vigorous fermentation. And to carry on with the review of how to clean it and how I found it to clean and sanitize and reuse, that's why we continued with it, as well as the fact that I thought in my mind the vigorous fermentation has took place. It's blown off it took place. So in it went. That's when the next day we came, and the airlock had lifted a bit. It had lifted the bung, so it had travelled up a bit more, lifted it. The amount you get in here to block it is enough to just block it completely. Okay, so that's why we kept using it and did the review. It's a review of it, so how does it handle a tiny amount of blow off? And then it's on about after fermentation. The Stereolock will continue to protect the brew in secondary fermentation, bulk aging of the beverage. So yes, like we said. So I just hope that clears up a few things. That's just my view on the product. It's not the only view. It's not the be all and end all of it. You need to go out and decide for yourself whether it's the product for you. And if the review came across like I was completely slating it, then I apologise. And let me just recap on what I said at the end of the review video. It's perfect for secondary fermentation if you have got short of space. So if you've done your fermentation, you're racking it into secondary to clear it, and you want to put it in a cupboard where you haven't got much head space, like I said in the review video, this is what you want. Okay, this is what you want. And like I said also in the last video, if you're short brewing a kit beer and you've got plenty of head space for that krausen to rise without interfering with this, then yes, use this. That's what I said. Alright, so I wasn't being unfair. I just happened to have a blow off, which meant I could clean it and see and tell you how easy it was to clean and reuse. Okay, so it's not a bad thing that happened. But like I said at the end of the video, I did give the points of where this would come into play. Secondary fermentation, where you need the space or you have lack of space, and short brewing beers where you've got a big enough space, head space, so that the krausen will not interfere with it, then yes, use it. Okay. My goodness. And again, you know, it's a tough thing doing these videos. It's a tough thing doing these review videos because now and then you're going to get something. You're going to get a beer that someone sent you for free, or you're going to get something, a product like the Stereolock that someone sent you for free, very kindly as well, let me add, sent it for free, and you're going to come across something that is not working, or something that doesn't suit how you brew, or you're going to find problems with it. And it's very difficult, having had someone send you something for free, to then give an honest review of it. But if we didn't give the honest reviews, there'd be no point reviewing it. If I drank some beers and reviewed them and I didn't like them, but I said I did, it wouldn't be an honest review. It would be complete and utter bullshit. Okay? And you'd lose respect for what I was doing, and you'd just make a mockery of it. And I would. I'd do the same. Okay, so it's difficult. So again, if I have upset anyone, I apologise. It wasn't my intention to upset anyone. Guys at Stereolock very kindly sent me the product to review, give an honest review, and unfortunately it didn't work out. Okay, but it doesn't mean I'm ungrateful for them sending it. It doesn't mean I'm ungrateful for them sort of being so quick at sending it out and so kind to send it out. I did mention about the crash cooling with the Stereolock and how it didn't really work so well. Now, this is the only part where I can see that I have sort of reviewed it incorrectly. They don't suggest for a second that this will handle a crash cool, just like any other airlock would not handle it. It would suck the water through, so you wouldn't use them for crash cooling. So it was wrong of me to be so negative on it for that aspect when it's not designed for that. So I apologise. So I hope this wraps up a few things. I encourage anyone to leave a comment, good or bad. If you think that I've said something out of term or out of context, or I've said something I shouldn't have said, and you don't think it's right, then leave the comment and take them on board. Okay, that I just wanted to take that because that one was quite sort of, you're being unfair, and I just wanted to put my point across to why I thought I was being fair. Okay, so with all that done, guys, don't forget to thumb up the video in case you don't know what I do. Don't forget to subscribe. There's a little red button down here that says subscribe. Click it and you won't miss out. share the video, get it out there, and until next time, I'm out of here.